Welcome to the Real Money Coach. It's Thursday, 8 p.m. You know what we do. We come live on the Real Money Coach. So as you're coming in and as you're listening, please put in the chat box where you are listening from, the city that you're coming from. Let us know where you're at. I'm so excited. I've been thinking about tonight's show for weeks. I've been thinking about it, and I'm just really super excited. So I hope you are too. We have a phenomenal guest that will be with us, and one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to spend a few minutes up front kind of recapping some things. Y'all, I tell you what, as I sit back, and I'm thinking about even making a Facebook post about this, but as I sit back and I think about the month of April, it has been one tremendous month. It has been an awesome month. Let me tell you why it's been so awesome. First of all, we kicked off the month. The month of April is Financial Literacy Month. At the beginning of April, we had a session with Dr. Boyce Watkins. It was an outstanding session. Man, he just dropped some nuggets of knowledge on it. Hey, my cousin is on, Michelle. Alice Martin is on. Listen, love it. I'm so glad you're here. So we had Boyce Watkins. He broke it down for us. And then this month, think about it. We've had Boyce Watkins, and then we turn around, and of course, we've had George Frazier last weekend. And we had Eugene Mitchell, Megan Lynch, and Les Brown. What are you talking about? Listen, if you were listening and you were on our Wealth Summit last week, ran from 10 till 2 p.m. We went to close to 3, but kicked off with George Frazier, Dr. George Frazier, and I was just with him earlier this evening, virtually, obviously, but he kicked it off. It was awesome. And then Eugene Mitchell, the author of the book, Closing the Racial Wealth Gap, 7 Untold Secrets to Closing to Black Wealth. So listen, it was phenomenal. Then we had Megan Lynch, and then fresh off of a virtual event in South Africa, Les Brown joined us. Now, what I want to do is, if you are watching tonight, if you attended on Saturday, if you attended that event on Saturday, just put in the chat box what you thought of it. Put in the chat box what you thought of the event on Saturday. Again, it was a phenomenal event. For me, I got to go back, and Chris is working on it now. If you attended that event and you were registered and all that, you'll get access to it. You'll get access to the videos, George and Eugene and Megan and Les Brown. And I can't wait to go back myself and watch it, because, as you're hosting, you're not really, I'm taking notes. I took pages of notes, right? But I want to go back and re-listen to it, especially Les Brown, because I just thought he was awesome. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. If you're brave tonight, we're going to do something we never done before. If you're brave tonight, if you want to, here's an invitation. You can go to therealmoneycoach.com/live, and you can come on screen with me tonight, and you can tell me and tell our audience what you thought of Saturday. So if you're watching and you're brave, I'm seeing Alice Martin in the chat box, but if you go to Real Money Coach Live, you can come on and share your thoughts with us tonight. So something new that we're trying tonight, but if you go to the Real Money Coach Live, realmoneycoach.com live, he just posted it in the chat there. Chris will bring you on the screen. You can share with our audience what you thought of it. So, if you're available, come on to the show. Let's do it. The other thing I want to talk about in terms of this month is obviously that was a great event for us, but also, as you know, a few of you have nominated us for the Crowns Awards. So it's the Crowns Enterprise Awards. We have been nominated for the Minority Business Enterprise of the Year. So Crowns of Enterprise, Minority Business Enterprise of the Year. Good evening, Ruth. Glad to have you here. If you guys want, you can come to that, come live on the screen with me. But the crowns, the actual ceremony, you guys, will be on Thursday, May 13th at 2 p.m. And I think we can even post the registration link there in the chat. It's a Thursday. It's at 2 p.m. And that's when they will announce the winners of the Crowns of Enterprise. They will be announcing both the 2020 winners and the 2021 because they did not have the event last year because of COVID. So we're just asking, come out, enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it myself. I know a good friend of the show, LePron Despan, has been also nominated for Woman-Owned Minority Business Enterprise of the Year as well. So we wish her well. She actually won the Minority Enterprise Business of the Year back in 2014, but she's been nominated for her second award, but this time as a woman-owned business. So come out and support her, come out and support us as we are going into that event. And what an honor it is to be nominated. And so, all of this is happening in right here in the month of April. I mean, between having Dr. Boyce Watkins, our Wealth Summit, and then being nominated for that. I received an award the other day from First Financial Security. I finished my coaching program with Dr. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. Some of you may know him as that. And so we'll be introducing some of those things as we move forward. So it's just been a tremendous month. But let me tell you the highlight of my month. I want to tell you guys this. This is the highlight of my month. It wasn't last weekend, but the weekend before. My family, we've all been vaccinated, had our shots and all that. We met in Nashville. So my daughter from Michigan, my granddaughter from Baltimore, my son who's in Nashville, my daughter, my son, we all went to Nashville and had a chance to go visit the National Museum of African American Music. And let me tell you, it is a wonderful, wonderful museum. When you're ready to travel, it's a must do. It's a must do. Thank you, Miss Douglas from the 313 Detroit in the house. All right. So it is a must do event. If you're not comfortable yet, I mean, we all stayed in an Airbnb, and so we're all together and we're comfortable there. Great protocols they took as far as COVID at the museum. But I tell you what, it is fabulous. It's a fabulous display of music and basically our influence on all these genres of music. And so, again, I can't really say enough about it. The whole family enjoyed it. Everywhere, our youngest was 3-year-old, my 3-year-old granddaughter, Riley. They enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it. The adults enjoyed it. It's interactive. It's just a great experience. So I definitely recommend a visit there. So very, very exciting. Very exciting. So the month of April was just a tremendous month. And so thank you all for all of your support and everything that you guys do. You're here every Thursday night. As many of you know, we got another Detroit is coming in strong tonight. Look, we got Alma H, Cheryl Howard from Detroit. And then, Michelle, my cousin that I grew up in Michigan with, I can't remember when she moved away. It might have been like 8th grade or something. But she's in Brooklyn. She's in Brooklyn, New York, and so glad to have her on tonight, listening to our show. So I'm just elated. Let me tell you what we're going to do tonight. We're going to have a guest tonight that I think is just tremendous. I have so much respect for our guest, and she's going to share her story with us tonight. And, I'm just very thankful. And, that's one of the, I guess, when I talked about April and I talked about the highlight being going to the museum, I was just thankful, very thankful, blessed to have my family. If you're blessed, just put it in the chat box. Just put blessed, put blessed in the chat box, because I'll tell you what, God has been good to all of us. To just, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot as a country. We've been through a lot, and, we've seen so many, and, unfortunately, it's just hard to even keep up with some of the shootings and killings at the hands of police and all those type of things that are going. And I know there's a lot of different things. Thank you, Colleen. Blessed, right? Absolutely. And I think Colleen is in New Jersey, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we got people from all over the country. Love it. And, it's just, we just have to stop. Sometimes we just got to stop and say, take a moment and just say thank you. Just thank you that we're here. Thank you that we're still surviving and all those types of things. So I don't know. Thank you, Alice. Yes, blessed, hands raised, and that's what it's all about. So, hey, listen, I don't know if anybody came into the backstage. I don't think anyone was brave enough to come off camera, come on with me tonight. But we do have our special guest. I do want to introduce her. And, I first met Donna Reed. Some of you may know Donna. I met Donna a few years ago. And actually, my first I met her at a couple different functions. She came to a couple luncheons that I hosted. But when I really got to know her, is I had an appointment with her, and we're sitting in her living room, and she shares her story with me. And when she shared her story, it just put her in a whole nother light for me. And I want her to come on tonight and share some of that story. She is founder and CEO for Home for Me, which is a foster care awareness nonprofit business that she runs. And she'll tell us more about that tonight. But she's really a special person. She held an event, I guess maybe 2 years ago, that both Dr. Frazier and I were speakers at, and again, got to know more about her story. And so I'm really, really, thank you, Ruth, really blessed. So I really have a lot of respect for her. And so what we're going to do is we're not going to hold it up, because when Donna and I get together, we can start talking. So it'll be 9 o'clock before we know it. So Chris, why don't we bring Donna on stage so that we can start this party? Come on, Donna. There she is. There she is. How you doing tonight?
All right, let's get some unmute going on. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for being on tonight. And it's amazing, even the fact that we're doing this tonight is amazing. It's really God, because you were sending me an email and I was sending you an email at the same time. And your email actually went to my son instead of coming to me. But it just showed how God was really connecting this thing. You wanted me to know some things, and I wanted you to know some things. I wanted to invite you to be a part of the show tonight, because what the Lord laid on my heart a couple of weeks ago is understanding that May is Foster Care Awareness Month. Right. And actually, Foster Care Awareness Day is the first Tuesday of each May. And I shared this with you and share it with our audience tonight, is that I was adopted. And I'm just so blessed, right? Because my story is a almost a fairy tale story compared to what some kids go through. you know, in my situation, just real quickly, then I want to hear. I want you to just give yours, right? Because yours is so powerful. Is that, you know, I was given up for adoption, and because I had an illness when I was born, and my grandmother was a foster mother, right? And so that was my bit mama, right? That's what I call it. That's bit mama, right? So bit mama took in a few kids that were sick and really not expected to live, or were expected to have some issues, right? Because of, you know, birth defects and that type of thing. And so what happened is my sister, we're not blood sisters, but we were foster carers in my grandmother's home. And so eventually my mom, her daughter, and my dad, they adopted us. And so my foster mother actually ended up becoming my grandmother. And so I never really, technically, I never really feel like I was in the foster care system, because of that. And my mom would always tell this story, Donna. She would say when they were going through the adoption process, back then the churches were really involved. And my mom always jokes that one day she was having a beer, and the pastor came by to talk about the adoption. And so she stuck the beer behind the couch, right? So she stuck the beer behind the couch, and it tipped over. And my sister said, "Mom, your beer fell over." And she was so embarrassed. But, you know, we're just blessed. I mean, we were blessed, because we didn't go through what a lot of the kids go through. And so I really want to bring awareness to that tonight. And you're familiar, I don't know if you're familiar with Willie Moore Jr., and he just did a documentary about his adoption and meeting his biological parents and all that kind of stuff. And so this is something that's just kind of been weighing on me, my heart, just to do something. And I just thought this was an opportunity to bring awareness to it. So I'm going to be quiet. I want to hear your story. Tell us your story. I mean, go back and tell us the real deal. Keep it 100 with us. And then we want to get into some of the things that are coming up this month.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your story, because it's amazing that when we begin to share, you know, our story, literally, it's amazing to find out how many people are really in the same situation. Some people, you know, have never spoke about it and don't understand how impactful their stories really are. And I actually
Mhm.
wrote a book about mine called Life is a Puzzle Until You Find the Missing Pieces. But let me just share a little bit about what even brings me to what I'm doing today. So, when I was born, it was in the 50s, my biological mother left me in the hospital. And she said she was coming back, but she never did. And so I was never released for adoption. What they did was they were placing me into white homes, thinking I was white because of the color of my skin. And then when those people would find out that I was not white, they were like, no, I can't do this. And so I ultimately ended up in an orphanage. And so my mother who raised me, and when I say my mother, I'm talking about my mother who raised me. My mother said that, you know, she used to always tell me the story, like you said, I always hear the story a lot, that she had a friend who was a social worker, and her friend would always say, Mary, I want you to just come to this orphanage. I just want you to see this little girl. And my mother, who was in her mid 40s, said, for what? Like, and she said, Mary, just please, please. All she needs is a chance. My mother was like, and so what are you telling me for, right? And my mother says she finally, after a while, went to this orphanage, and she said, when she saw me, it just took one look. And
Wow.
she said she called my father and said, we're about to have a little girl. And so I became the little girl that they did not have, and they became the parents that I so needed. And
Mhm.
so again, my parents, remember, were in their mid 40s. And here I was, a toddler in an orphanage. And so I was, again, it was considered foster care, because, again, I was never released for adoption. But I had everything. I mean, everything you could imagine. We did, you know, the word didn't float around in the house. I knew, because I looked so much like my father that a lot of times when we would be sitting and talking or eating or something like that, my mother used to look back and forth between me and my father. And she used to say, Freddie, I swear if I wasn't the one who walked in that orphanage, I swear you snuck this in on me. That's how much I look like him, right?
You know, that's so
And
interesting. You know,
yeah,
it's interesting because people say that about my dad. You know, it's
yeah,
like, I look like my dad. I got ways like my dad, and all this, and so I
Yeah.
understand. The other commonality is that my dad was 45 when I was adopted. Mom was
Oh
38.
wow.
So they were a little bit older as
Older,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so they were they were like the age that most of my friends and stuff, their grandparents were. It was just real interesting. But anyway, but I never looked at it that way. We had real cool parents. But when I turned 18, I thought I was grown. Because remember, I had everything growing up. I mean, they taught me, my mother, I mean, she just always taught me you could do anything you want to do, you could do anything you set your mind to do. I know you're going to be successful. So that's all I ever knew was the positive. That's all I would hear. But here's the interesting thing. My mother was a civil rights leader. And so here I am, this light skin, and I'm going to school. And my biological mother was white. My biological father was black. And so I didn't know that for a long time, but I only considered myself black. So here I am when I would go to school and I would hear one side and I would bring up the other because hey, I'm going by what I'm learning at school. So they thought I had problems and they thought I had issues and all of this. And I faced prejudice from white people because my skin was too dark. And then I faced prejudice from black people because my skin was too light. Oh, and you think you're this, you think. And I'm like, I only think, I thought we were friends, right? And it was like
Right.
always something, one side or the other. So at the time, I just knew I was black. So I would just, that was my thing. Well, one day when I would turn 18 and I thought I was grown, I left home. Now I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. And so I decided to leave home and go 1,000 miles away. I went down to Beaufort, South Carolina, where we used to always go for vacation. So my parents thought I was going to go around a corner, figure out that, this is not what I thought it was, and come on back home. But what I did, got on a Greyhound bus and went 1,000 miles away. So when I got there, I called collect, tell my parents I made it okay. And my mother answered that phone and she said, in the 40 years I've been married to your father, I never seen him cry till you walked out that door. She said, you want to think you so grown? You go ahead and be grown. And she hung up the phone. Now I'm standing in a telephone booth, literally,
Mm.
literally afraid to hang up from everything I knew in life, everything I could fall back on if things didn't work out, and everything I could fall forward to when things did work out. You want that person to call. You
Right.
want that person to, to say, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? But I felt at that moment that that was it. I'm in the world by myself, and I was afraid to hang up that telephone. I stood there and I cried. And then I realized, wait a minute, you have no choice but to be successful. So I stepped out of that telephone booth at 18 years old, saying, this is the first time in my life that I understood what foster kids go through when they age out of the system. Now, my parents were mad for about a total of 3.5 minutes, but I didn't know that because I was afraid to call back,
Right.
because I was glad to call collect again. So my mindset said, I got to make it. And so I met this person. I was actually going to Job Corps, but that's a whole different story. And I literally ended up escaping from Job Corps. And the person who helped me, I had just met him 3 weeks prior. So I go off the Job Corps. I come back, literally escaping from Job Corps. It's a whole different, like I said, read the book on that one. But when I got back, I ended up marrying him, right? And so my mother, when she found out I was getting ready to get married, still 18, she was like, now, Donna, look, you don't have to do this. They had come down to Beaufort. Now, you don't have to do this. I was like, no, mommy, I want to. I want to. Because to me, this was my next security move,
Mm.
right? So he promised that he would cherish me. I made the promise back to him at 18. 19, 5 days before I turned 19, 19 pregnant, 21st baby, 21 second baby, 22 third baby, 23 single parent with 3 babies.
Wow.
No further education because my parents wanted me to go to college. I, didn't really want to go to college. But now I am rocking 3 babies and going back to college and ended up on welfare, something I knew nothing about. And the reason I ended up there is because when I went to go get a job, because I was a smart girl, but when I went to get a job, it wasn't enough to pay the babysitter. So I got on welfare, went back to school, got my degree, and then I went. And while I was on the welfare system, I was very, very gifted. And this is something I teach, the young people all the time and share with them. I was very gifted. I was very, very creative. So while I was on the welfare system, I began to make crafts and begin to do things, with my hands. I mean, from macrame to flower arrangements, wood burning, shelf building, you name it, I could make it. Never took a class for any of it. I was just that gifted. I literally was, and very creative. So I began to do craft shows on weekends to supplement the check that I was getting. My girls literally were underneath the table while I was doing business on top of the table. So I literally was an entrepreneur before the word existed. Before the word existed. Matter of fact, when I first started in business and doing, they wouldn't even ship to my house because it was a residence. I used to have to find places and beg the people, craft stores, can I please have this stuff shipped to you? And they would, and I would work the business that way.
And you were still in South Carolina?
No, this is in Connecticut because I'm sorry, I did miss that. Yeah, I meant to say I had the 3 babies in 2.5 years in 3 different states. Oh my God, you have to read the book on that one. My husband was in the military.
Okay.
And so we went from South Carolina to Nashville, which by the way, I got family in Nashville too. So I have to go see that museum. My daughters are up there all the time. And then back to Connecticut, right? Yeah. And Texas. I'm sorry, I forgot about Texas. That's where I left him. And actually, let me say this to anybody who is listening. He was very, very, very abusive. I mean, it was to the point where every day he beat me up and every night he beat me down. Beat me up physically, beat me down mentally every single day. And this was a person I thought was going to treat me right. And I thought I had to stay there because I never experienced somebody or anybody, my parents, friends, or anything that didn't have 2 parents. And because I had 2 parents, I didn't know what that was like. So I thought I had to stay there because of that. And then one day he beat me so bad, he was straddled on top of me, beating my head into the floor to where I was going in and out of consciousness. My kids were screaming, and I begged him not to kill me in front of the kids, which is the only reason he stopped. When I got up off from that floor, I started plotting and planning on how to leave him. And I mean, literally, I had to be so careful. It took me 9 months to get out of there. But I'm going to just share this because, and I'm just being led this way because so many young people are going through abuse. So many people, period, are going through abuse. Yes. But I literally was in Texas at the time wearing turtlenecks because of the marks he would put on my neck. And I remember when I got up off that floor, I knew I was going to leave him, but I couldn't tell him that because I knew that would probably be the end of me. But what I did tell him was, I am not wearing another turtleneck. And I took the turtlenecks off, which means I am exposing what you are doing. And if you leave another mark on me, everybody's going to know how it got there. And that was one of the things that really kind of stopped him from doing what he was doing. He kept the verbal thing going, but that was one of the things that really stopped him from putting his hands on me. And it took me 9 months to plot and plan to get away from him, to save up the money and that kind of thing. But when I did, this one day he went off to work, and literally he had looked in the rearview mirror, when he got down to the end of the road, he would have seen the whole neighborhood coming to help me because I literally had planned it that well, where I got out of there in one day, packed up a 3-bedroom home in one day and got out of Dodge. And again, you can read about that in the book, how I escaped from him. But now here's the thing. So now I go back to Connecticut. Matter of fact, that chapter is called 3 Babies in a Truck because I had my babies on the front seat of that truck. And I literally drove a 17-foot truck from Texas back to Connecticut. And so when I got back there, to find out that my mother had Alzheimer's. And so now I am literally, I'm uneducated, but I'm going back to school. I'm doing the crafts. and I'm taking care of my mother and my children, and there was nobody to take care of me. And what happened was I had began to drink. Now I had always loved my beer, and I smoked my cigarettes and all of that. But literally I had become to the point where that was like my comfort in the evenings.
Okay.
And
Right.
so every night that was it. Until one day when I knew that I had to give this up. I'm like, I need to give this up. And that's the day I found out that it had more control over me and more power over me than I had over it. And so with that, I now had to plan, how do I get over this? How do I get past what I'm going through? How do I do this? I was embarrassed to go to AA meetings. I didn't know what to do. It was just me and my girls. I didn't have any babysitters or anybody. So it was like I couldn't leave them and try to go get some help. I didn't even know what to do. But I had just began a relationship with God because I didn't know him.
Come on,
Come
preacher.
on now. I had just began a relationship with God,
Yeah.
and I heard a word say, "You could cast your cares upon me,
Me.
and
Yeah.
I will take them." And I remember being, and I call it to this day, crazy enough to believe everything that he said. I heard it that if he said it, he would do it. He is not a man that he shall lie. He keeps every promise that he ever made, and I believed it. And one day I gave it to him literally, and that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother show.
Listen,
But
people listening tonight, if you're being blessed, just put amen in the chat. Just put amen in the chat, because you're helping someone tonight. You're releasing, you're letting them know that there is a way, and he is the way. He is the way.
he is the way.
So yeah, it's continued.
He is the truth, and he is the life. And he came so that we might have life, and have it more abundantly. And so when I began to read more, pray more, look at more, hear more about what was saying, what faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God. And I began to believe everything I heard. And I promise you, the very hour, not a minute less or more, the very hour I asked God to take cigarettes and alcohol from me sincerely, after 20 years of smoking and drinking, he delivered me and set me free.
Praise God.
Literally, I remember this, that about 3 or 4 days later, I was talking to someone, and they happened to mention trying to give up cigarettes. And I said to them, I said, well, if you sincerely believe and trust God, if you sincerely want to give it up, if you believe in your heart that he will do this, he will do it. And I prayed with her, and I want you to hear this.
Yes.
The devil tried to tell me that you're gonna have to wait 6 months or a year. Ain't nobody gonna believe you quit smoking, because it takes time. People quit for a couple of days and go back. So I really believed that I was gonna have to wait a while, because I had tried on my own for a long time. This girl didn't know me. And so when she said it, I gave her my testimony, and I didn't have to tell her when it happened. And I tell you what, that's when I told the devil, I'll never shut my mouth again. There is nothing you could ever stop me from saying about the God we serve. And I began to speak on from that day forward about how he will deliver and set you free. And while we're on this track, let me say this to anybody who needs to be set free from anything. About a week later, I was in my backyard, because one of the things that I had did, now I want you to remember this, I'm one who came out of the system. I'm one who had a wonderful family, but at one point in time didn't think that family was still there for me, and knew and knew that I was going to have to make it on my own. And now, but again, that only lasted a few minutes for them, but I was miles away, so I didn't know.
It lasted a long time, right?
Right. So to me, it was it. This was my situation. But here I am in my backyard, and I was standing there, and I heard this voice say, "I want you to run." Now, I want to pause right there for a second, because I was at a point in my life where I had literally made funeral arrangements for myself. I had wrote letters to my daughters, and I had left cassette tapes for them because I could hardly breathe. I could not take a flight of steps without stopping and getting my breath. And there was only so much I could do before I'd be out of breath. And so I thought I was gone, and I thought it was too late for me. But I remember the day that he set me free. And I knew that if he could set me free from that, he could also heal my body. And I was standing out in my backyard, and I thought I heard a voice, and I was by myself. So I'm thinking to myself, I know I ain't crazy now.
Right.
And I heard this voice say, I want you to run from fence to fence to fence 10 times. So now I'm really thinking, what? I barely walked out this door, even though I had, been delivered, set free, and all of that. And the next thing I know, I promise you, it was something like somebody pushed me off and I took off running. I ran around my backyard 10 times. And when I stopped, God showed me visually a set of brand new lungs and said, I have healed your body and told you to run on. And I knew again from that point on, nothing ever could shut my mouth or ever stop me from doing anything I set out to do, because I serve a God who said, I know the plans I have for you.
Come on, Jeremy.
Plans to prosper you, plans to give you a future, plans to give you a hope and no harm. Come on now. No harm.
Come on.
So he's not going to send somebody who's going to harm me. He's not going to let me harm myself. And if I ask him, he's going to do it. And right now, today, Tony, you're going to love this. I call it, if you ever read the book from Kirby John Caldwell, Entrepreneurial Faith, I call it my get out of the boat faith, because it wasn't to get it out of the boat. It wasn't the walking on the water. It was the getting out of the boat that took faith. Come on now.
To take the step outside of
yes.
And I always tell people, it's like, it's that faith step. And what even like King says, that faith is taking the first step when you can't see the staircase.
Come on now.
It's taking the first step of faith. And then God will allow you to make every step you need to make. Now, Peter's issue was that he started paying attention to the things that were going on around him and took his eye off of God, right?
Yeah.
He said that he saw the wind. First of all, you can't even see the wind. You can feel the wind, but you can't see it. And when we allow life and the things, the static, let's call it static, Donna. When we allow the static around us to take our attention and our focus away from what God has really called us to do, that's when we begin to sink.
That's right.
We can stay focused and true to the purpose that God has given us.
That's right. And he's given each one of us.
Yeah.
And there's nothing can stop us. Because the interesting thing is, he shows us the end result. He shows us, he gives us the vision. He didn't give it to you, the other person. He gave it to me. Your vision, he gave to you. Now, you can tell us the vision. You can write the vision. But the vision, you're the one who sees it. And so if you see it, you have to know that it takes steps to get there.
Right.
But you have to know you will get there because he's the one who showed it to you. So he's going to show you the steps as well. There's no question about it. So I was at a point in my life where I was crazy enough to believe it, because people thought I was crazy. No, I'm just going to put it out there. They're like, did you hear what she said? She going to do what? Oh, yeah, she going to do it because she said it. And she set out to do it, and she saw it, and she knows she can't do nothing alone. So she depended solely on God to show the steps, do the steps, and that's who I'm going to pray to get those steps done.
Now, listen.
So here I am, again, brand new in the word. You know how we get all excited about brand new in the word. But that brand new in the word is what kept me in the word, and it kept me moving towards that direction. And then remember, I also had my mother who always said, you can do anything you set your mind to. You can accomplish anything you want to. And I believed it. Well, let me tell you something else my mother said the day I got married. She said, Donna, if he ever mistreats you, because she said marriage is not going to be a bed of roses. But if he ever mistreats you and puts his hands on you, and of course I'm sitting up there the day I'm getting married, oh, you know he gonna do that. She said, take it as long as you want to take it, and then don't take it no more. I want you to hear those words. I want you to hear those words. Take it as long as you want to take it, and then don't take it anymore.
So
come on now,
you got to make up your mind.
Yes,
you're not gonna take it no more.
Come on now. It took me 3 years.
There might be somebody listening tonight that said, I'm tired. I'm not gonna take it no more. And it may be abusive relationship. It could be your spending habits. It could be a number of things. But you gotta have a made up mind. I always think about, we grew up on Popeye, right? And he would say, enough is enough, right? And so you
Tony,
to the point where enough is enough.
This is what I call it, Tony. And who's ever listening, I want you to write this down right now. It's 3 words. You ready? Never again moment. What is your never again moment? What is it that you say never again will I be broke? Never again will I let somebody put their hands on me. Never again will I pick up the cigarette. Never again moment. When you hit that,
put it in the chat box. Never again moment.
That's it. When you hit that never again moment, there's nothing that will stop you from moving past that to where you want to be. Because trust me, if you're in something and that's not something you really want, when you've had enough, you're done. And women know this better than anything else. When we make up our mind that it's over, it's over.
It's over. It's over. It's done. I done washed my hands.
And you can try to come back all you want to.
I ain't going back down that road no more.
Come on now.
Hey, you guys got to understand why Reverend Donna Reed is on our show tonight. Listen, I don't know who needs to hear what she was saying, but somebody needed to hear it. Somebody needed to be encouraged tonight. Somebody needed to know that there's still hope tonight. Somebody needed to know that enough is enough, that somebody has reached that never again moment. Donna, I will not forget that. I will give you credit for it, though.
I know 1 or 2 times, and that's it.
1 or 2 times, you know what we say. I'll give you credit for it.
That's it.
I do. You guys, now that you know who we're talking to, now that you know the person who's on the screen in front of you, I want to shift and talk about this because it is something that's becoming nearer and nearer dear to my heart. I remember talking with you, and I never thought about it before. And, George, Frazier, Dr. Emma, and I'll tell you something, even Les Brown, right, talks about for adoption, that Mamie Brown adopted him and his twin brother and all that. He revealed something on our show the other night, Donna.
Okay.
He revealed that he's found out about his biological parents. It was the first time that he's revealed that. And because we were with him when he was here. Remember?
That's right. We spoke on stage together. That's right.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so he revealed that, and he revealed that his parent and his grandparent all were, motivational speakers, his biological. And so it was a really amazing moment as he shared that with us. But this issue, and the reason why I think it's so important, and it's the whole money thing has a lot to do with it. As kids are aging out of the foster care system.
That's right.
And one of the things that you had mentioned that I never even thought about too is when they age out of the foster care system, and you and I happen to be working with the same organization, doing some volunteer work at an organization in Ohio with kids that are aging out of the system. I'm going to be teaching some budgeting classes for them, in terms of now that they're on their own,
right?
They're on their own. How do you survive? They go to school, and the dorm closes for Christmas.
That's right.
If you're aged out of the foster care system, where do you go?
That's right.
The other thing I'd like to even address tonight that my heart
Mhm.
goes out is this COVID crisis has created more kids that don't have a parent, that their parents may have passed because of COVID.
Right.
And I saw something that there was like 250,000 kids entering foster care every day. But those who are aging out of the system, tell us a little
That's
bit
right.
about that.
So what's happening there, and I don't know what's going on. It's like all of a sudden it got real hot in here in my house.
Hey,
That's why I was
preacher,
like,
you preaching. You know how that goes.
is that what it is? Oh, okay, then I can do this and be okay then, right? Praise the Lord. Okay. I was like, what is going on here? So watch this. And you're right. Before COVID, almost 30,000 young people a year aging out of the foster care system without a plan. 20% of them were instantly homeless. Instantly homeless. That means nowhere to go, no parents, no plan. And that means they are on the streets, human trafficking. I mean, all of the negative things you can think of that the streets offer. What I want us to remember tonight when you hear me talk, these kids didn't ask to be in foster care. Somebody could not take care of them. And now we're expecting them to take care of themselves.
Wow.
And when you look at an 18-year-old, when I think about myself, when I think about, I have 4 daughters now, I have 19 grandkids. Half of my grandkids are teens or older. When I look at them, none of them ready to be on their own at
Absolutely.
18 years old. But yet society says these kids have to go figure it out. And I'm keeping it real. The other thing I want us to know is that when you hear about kids in foster care, especially our teenagers, these kids are not in a home with a parent or 2 parents. These kids are in facilities or group homes. It's
Mm,
a big difference than being in a home with some parents, because in a group home, they're literally, just like it says, they're grouped. They have to do everything together. If they want to go somewhere, if somebody acted up or somebody doesn't feel like going, there's only one person in the house, one social worker or whatever the case is, then none of them can go. They are in group situations. I was on a presentation the other day. It was a national presentation on foster teens and aging out, and they said a lot of the group homes are like prison. I want you to hear this.
mm.
With the focus groups that they did with kids all across the country. But watch this. Most of them said, "But what other choice do we have?" Listen to what they're saying. What
Wow.
other choice do we have? So what I'm saying is, and what our focus is, and what my goal is across this country, we have the organization Home for Me. Home stands for Hope, Opportunity, Mentoring, and Education. And it's a voice for teens in foster care because they don't have a voice. I need us to hear this. They don't have a voice. And so what our goal is that for every young person that is aging out of foster care, now watch this, that wants to go to college, listen, because 70% of teens in foster care want to go to college, less than 2.3% of them graduate.
Wow.
Why do you suppose? No support, no housing, no finances, no guidance. What do they have?
Yeah.
They immediately are in survival mode at 18 years old. They are immediately into survival mode. And so, one of the things, if you really want to get under my skin, is to say, well, aren't there any programs? Why do they have to look for the next program in order to survive?
Right.
These young people should already have a plan in place. I'm talking about we should be making sure, not them. We should be making sure. We should make sure that they are okay. So we are partnering watch this, I need you to hear me, with HBCUs. We're partnering with the HBCU because when you look at them coming from a non-family environment, going into a college, they need to go into a college that is like family.
Yes.
And an HBCU will wrap their arms around them. There's nothing wrong with other colleges. I want you to hear me. It's just that they get lost in those colleges. And again, they're on their own. But with an HBCU, it's more like a family dynamic.
Yes.
And if their GPA is not as high, it is most kids, they're still able to get in, right? And then they help them get it there. So we have an initiative called Together We Win. It's college, community, corporation, and church all partnered to make sure that these young people that age out, and I need to hear this again, on their 18th birthday,
Yes.
not the day after, not the year they turn 18, literally, happy birthday, you're on your own. And if they don't have a plan in place or a place to go, they are literally homeless. I want to really drill that piece in. But what our organization is doing is it's guiding them right into their own place.
Yes.
You hear me? Right into their own place. They're going to college, and then they are, of course, they're avoiding, the homelessness. And then they had one of the other things that we are doing, which is so key, and a lot of people first of all, people are not aware. A lot of people aren't aware.
Yeah.
One of the other major gaps is consistency. So when they go from place to place to place, location to location to location, I just want you to think about what that looks like. They're going into somebody else's house, somebody or facility. Remember, most of them are facility. Someone else's bed, someone else's sheets, someone else's pillow. Think about it for a moment. And they are having to adapt to that atmosphere.
Right.
Listen now, and we put it on them. They have to adapt. So we're wondering, well, what happened? Well, what happened was we put it all on them.
The whole
Do you see what?
and,
Yeah.
and the thing about that, Donna, is even as a freshman, when you grew up in a house where you had a mama, a daddy, where you maybe even in a single parent home,
That's
or
right.
there's grandparents involved, all these different situations. When you go off to school and you get left at that dorm room, when you have all the support, it's a tough moment.
That's right.
It's a tough moment. It's a tough moment for you as a child. You may not show it because you're trying to be brave and you think you're ready to be in this dorm and do all this on your own, but you're still really being coddled, right? You're still really being cared for.
That's right.
I mean, you got to think about it. You can call home, and we wore cash out, right? Sending money to our kids, like
Right.
I mean,
And
they don't have that. They don't have any of that available for them. And
my daughter, one of my daughters went to A&T, and I went and picked her up every weekend. And people used to say, when you gonna let her get used to college? I said, if my child says she'd rather be home for the weekend opposed to her, what some of the activities that were happening, I'm going to get her. But
right.
Who do they have? They don't have anywhere to go. Christmas, Thanksgiving, the dorms closed. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have anywhere to go. I need us to hear this. They don't have anywhere to go. So that means, I want you to listen to this. That means even if they're in college, they're still homeless. Even if they're in the dorm, they're still homeless, right? One of our goals is what I just said, for them to go directly into their own place, right? One of our goals, and this is where, if you would like to make a donation to Home for Me,
and we had some people. Phyllis put that in the chat box. How can we help? And I know there's many ways. Like I mentioned to you, I'll be teaching a class on moving out and on your own for some kids that are moving out, as we're looking at that program, Donna, and really anticipating a great success with that. And so I want you to finish that. And maybe while you're talking about that, Chris, could you maybe bring up the flyer for
And
the
put on our website. Let me say, the website is Home for Me. It's the number 4, homeforme.org. And I just want to share this so people understand, when you go to the website, you're going to see some of the needs and some of the things that we do. One of the things is our goal to give every teen in foster care a bed in a bag. Why is that? Again, I just said it. They going into somebody else's location. And I want us to understand, these kids move many, many times. And the majority of the times, they don't even know why they're being moved. It could have been something happened in the home they're unaware of. They could have found out something about one of the people. I mean, there's so many different reasons where it's not even on them. But if they have to move, at least they have their own bedding, their own blanket. That's another thing that we give, is a blanket. Why is that? Well, you don't know the temperature of the house that they're going in. We don't know the temperature. Do they have a blanket? Is it cold in there? And if you know anything about a blanket, a lot of us use a blanket just for a sense of security, right?
Right.
We make sure that they have a blanket, a bed in a bag, and a filled suitcase. Now, listen to this. When these kids, and you can look this up, when kids in foster care get moved from location to location, and it happens mostly when they are older, they are given a black garbage bag to get all of what they own, to put in that bag, and to move to the next place that, once again, they got to figure out, why am I being moved? Go into the next location, and then, and again, into another surrounding that they have to adapt to. Sometimes you'll hear people say, well, I don't know about the older ones because they're already set in their ways. Actually, they are looking for someone to help them set their ways. Listen to what I'm saying to you. They're going into a place, and the minute they bond with someone, they have to move again. So why is it would they go in ready to bond? They're afraid to give their hearts, their mind, because they don't know when the next time you're going to say you're out of here, and they don't know. My daughter, one of my daughters, and I never say which one because when you look at her, people have to figure it out because she literally looks like me. I got her when she was 15 years old, one of my daughters. Got her when she was 15. She literally was getting ready to celebrate in June. I'm sorry, the end of May, her 40th birthday. So 25 years ago. Can I say that when I got her, my first words to her was, this is it. Now, mind you, I didn't even know her. I was just meeting her. But I had made up my mind when she comes to my house that this is not my house anymore. It's also her house. And I said those words to her over and over again. Whether you're good, whether you're bad, whether you're up, whether you're down, whether you're going left, whether you're going right, we're doing this thing together. And it literally was the comfort that she had to know I'm finally somewhere where it's solid. Wow. And so I say that to say that's all they need. But the consistency, the people in their lives are not there. So when they go to the next place, it's another social worker, it's a new place, it's more people, it's more friends, maybe another school, maybe this, maybe that. So what we do is a part of the initiative we have called Together We Win is we are partnering with HBCUs, and we already have the program, part of it going. And what I mean by part of it, we have started the program. And what we're doing is we are connecting mentors, a mentor from college, with a young person that is aging out of foster care, and they're guiding them using our Leg Up on Life program. And LEG stands for Leadership, Entrepreneurship, and Grooming. And Life stands for Living Skills, Innovative Choices, Financial Literacy, and Educational Paths. And Tony will be teaching the financial literacy pieces. And so,
and that mentoring is so important because I mean, I was blessed and fortunate. I went to school on an academic scholarship, right?
Okay.
And so they're setting you up for success. You know, the first thing they did, they was
Well,
just send me a mentor. I mean, I'm still friends with him today on Facebook.
yeah,
And you know, I was blessed that we were able to have a relationship. You know, that's so important.
it's so important.
It gave me a place to go. You know, I'd go there for dinner. He'd have me house sit. You know, a repair guy's coming by. I'm gonna come get you. You sit at the house. I mean, just to go someplace that wasn't a dorm or those type of things.
Right.
So those things, those relationships, that mentoring is so important. And I'm so excited that you're doing this with HBCUs.
Yes.
I didn't go to a HBCU. We have my kids went to HBCU, and there's a different culture there because they see people that look like them, they care for them. They oftentimes are more than just a number. Now, our HBCUs are awfully important, and
Yes.
I think that this is a wonderful program. And I know you're working with a number of them already. Um,
Yes.
and so that's awesome. Then we're at 9 o'clock. We're a little bit over, but it's all right.
Oh wow.
We had a great time. But I want to
Yes.
talk about the Hidden Valley event.
Yes.
For those of you who are in Charlotte, I want you to talk a little bit about that event. What's going to take place this weekend?
Yes.
Just real quickly, please.
So May the 8th, and it's the weekend of Mother's Day because, again, these young people don't have mothers. And so we repurposed that weekend, and it's literally raising awareness to teens in foster care. But the event itself and every event we have is strategically planned to provide a family atmosphere for these young people. So that's what it is. It's a big family day. Just come on out. It's actually scaled from the big one that we're going to have in September, along with the National Family Empowerment Conference. You'll see that on our website. And one of the other things I just want to say very quickly is every August we have an ultimate birthday party for teens in foster care, because that's another thing that these young people do not get, their own birthday. The majority
Mhm.
of the young people that are at the birthday have never had their own birthday party. We go all out for them. And every time we give gifts during the holidays, during the birthday party, during the events, it's all strategic and all practical items that they can use. You'll see it all on the website, homeforme.org. HOME, the number 4ME.org. And thank you all so much for listening
And
and for
listen,
supporting.
the event is this Saturday, May
May 8th.
8th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Faith CME Church. It's 457 Wellingford Street in Charlotte. Now, listen, they have some things that they need. They need to give away 50 bed and bags, right? Full size, queen size. They're asking for 50 $25 gift cards. 50 new suitcases, 50 towel sets, sheet sets, umbrellas. And I think all that, you'll see it on the website, but we want you to support this. If Donna, we have people from all over
Yes.
the United States. Some of them are not going to be in Charlotte. They can go to your website. Can they donate
Yes.
there? Can they give there? How do they do that?
They can give there. The donation is there. The Cash App is there. Yeah, the ways to give is right there on the website. If we can put up the Cash App, I can do that. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think we can. Chris could get it. We can. I got the Cash App here though.
Yes,
Let's see.
it's T. You want me to say it?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah,
It's $ TBAGS and then home for me. So the T bags, home for me. And the T bag stands for Teach Boys and Girls Success, and then home for me. So the $TBAGSHOME, the number 4ME.
awesome. Awesome. So
And thank you all so much. And thank you, Tony,
such
because
a great
this
program.
is so needed. And I mean, our
Such a
young people
great
need us.
program. It's just awesome. And so I thank you for taking the time and being with us. And really, we want to just ask everyone to come out and support the program. If you're in another area, we don't really ask people often to give to causes, that type of thing. That's not our thing. A lot of times we have our different programs that we're doing, but we're just asking you to support this. This is an important cause, and
And,
I'm going to see if I can do this here.
and Tony, while you're doing that, I want to share this real quick. We give the kids everything they need for their dorm. We heard a story when we first started Home for Me where a young lady was in 23 different homes, but her whole focus was to get to college. She got herself in college. A couple gave her a ride to the dorm. And when she walked in, she saw a beautiful setting all to the side, the matching beds and all of that. Then she looked to the right and saw a blank mattress because she did not know about that part of it. The couple took her to the store and bought everything for her dorm. But her story touched us so much that is one of our goals. It's called a college kit. And we purchase everything from the refrigerator, the microwave, the hamper, the bed in a bag, again, the towels, all of that so that they can have everything that they need in their dorm.
All right, so we pulled this up on screen. So if you're going back and you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching it Facebook at another time, there's the flyer. It's there. It's got all the events. Lower corner there, it has the
take a picture
and all that there, all the particulars. Again, the website is home the number 4 me.org. Home number 4 .org. And so just awesome. Thank you again, Donna, for being with us.
Thank you.
And
thank all of you for donating too. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. There's people that are already saying they're going to donate.
Yes, thank you.
I see that in the chat. So thank you for that. Thank you for supporting this program. And we're just excited, Donna. You are doing a great work. I appreciate you. You have brought this awareness to me, and even having been, technically a part of the system, but not really experiencing it. You opened my eyes to, number one, just how blessed I really was, really, I mean, and I guess we both were, we grew up with a mother and father. I never knew any different, right? They never did it. They never tried to hide the fact that I was adopted. They never, they were always open with it. But I had everything I needed.
Exactly.
And that's just not the experience of so many. And so we just wanted to bring awareness to this. Tuesday, folks, is National Foster Awareness Month. I think they said wear the color blue. I think that's what I read somewhere. It's to wear the color blue on Tuesday. I don't know.
And the whole month is Foster Care Awareness Month.
The whole month, yes. Starting Saturday, the month of May. So thank you again, Donna. Stay in agreement with us. Hey, folks, listen, we are so happy that you stayed with us. I think it was a phenomenal show. Got a chance to really get to know Donna. You guys have saw. I know many of you knew her already. I saw a lot of people saying earlier in the chat, hi, Reverend Donna. And so a lot of people, they know you. They know you already.
They did? Okay. Hey, y'all.
And,
I have to go back and see who's on here.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Dr. Benita Harris said that earlier. Maybe Ruth Bell might have said it earlier. I know they're at the park. I know we've probably even been in some of the same preaching circles. Our good friend Donnie Garris, always praying for that brother. And so
was Pastor Garris on there?
No, he wasn't on here, but I was just thinking that was one of the connections that you and I had that I didn't know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so absolutely. So with that, everyone, we just want to just thank you
Thank
And
y'all.
have a good night. And we'll see you next week at 8 o'clock on The Real Money Coach. God bless you. Bye-bye.